365 days, but I treat every day like it's my last. I'm only concerned with building on the future, cause I can't change my past. Positive vibes for positive lives. She just giving you that truth and shifting your mind. It's more mental than you realize. It's up to you to take control, cause this world is cold and negativity gon' take its toll. Now we've been told any day could be your last. I'm embracing every moment and I cherish every laugh, every smile, every hug, every kiss, every touch, every person in my life that I care about and love. But wait, maybe I'm getting too emotional. That's exactly what they say you ain't supposed to do. Suppress your feelings, never talk about your pain. Can't appreciate the sun without acknowledging it rains, right? That's right. So this a moment of clarity, and make sure you always protect your energy. You stay focused and your life gon' be lit. And you are now rocking with Celeste, the therapist. Let's go.
Hey, everybody that's watching me on the replay. Thank you so much for watching me. I appreciate you. My name is Celeste. I'm a therapist from Boston. I come on, I talk to people who are doing things to empower the lives of others by sharing their story. And the goal behind everything that I do is to help people kind of shift the way that they think. What I've come to understand is that, we get so stuck in things that have taken place over the years, and we struggle with finding our way out. And I think that what this podcast has been able to do for people is to help them understand things differently, because they end up hearing a story that may sound similar, or somebody may share something that's allowed them to find their healing. And so people get hope. And, that's my goal. I want people to have hope, because it's hard, especially now. So I have a special guest. Y'all know all my guests are super special. I'm going to add my special guest to the stream and have him introduce himself to you all. Hi, special guest.
Hey, I'm JClay, spiritual teacher / rap artist. Thank you for having me, Celeste.
Thank you for being here. You said spiritual teacher, right? That's what you said. When you say spiritual teacher, what does that mean to you?
So spiritual teacher, it gets back to the truth, our core truth, like beyond all the illusions, beyond the false beliefs, beyond what certain people consider fact, like the absolute truth that's true for everybody, no matter past, present, future.
I like where you're going. I like that. One of the things that I want to do is I want to read your bio because it was very interesting. So one of the things I do when I have guests come on is that I research them, right? And so, shout out to you, Mental Health Advocate of the Year. Whoop, whoop. I love it.
Appreciate it.
So it says, my real name is Jelani, right?
Yeah, Jelani.
Jelani, I like it. I make conscious rap songs that heal you. I expose the false beliefs that have limited your growth. I love that. This is why you recognize what you hear as the truth. The mind controls the body, so healing it is just a matter of correcting your perception. I love that so much. This is what my music and teachings will do for you. Details of my past have not been included in this bio because the past serves as a distraction. Only this moment is real, and in it, you have been led to a door that holds the answers you've sought since you've perceived birth. That was a very interesting statement that you made. So I would like to get into that, like, is the past, because I talk a lot about, not dwelling on the past, not worried about the future, being in the moment. There's a lot of healing in being in the moment. So I'm curious about the distraction piece. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so sometimes when we hear people's stories, a couple things happen. We insert ourselves into it, and we think that in order for us to succeed, it has to happen how their story happened. Just for an example, even to bring up my own past, I remember thinking back when I was just trying to make it big as a rapper that my story isn't what is it? Detrimental enough. Like, it wasn't heartbreaking enough. Like, you hear all of these people that had these terrible pasts. Like, we glorify these past stories. So part of me was thinking, like, man, do I have to have tragedy in order for me to have success? And that can be confusing to a lot of people who are going after something great, or think that they have to chase something great, but they're comparing themselves to other people. But no two stories are the same, just as no two moments are the same. And so that's one aspect it can do it. But the other aspect about sharing your past is also it allows people to treat you how they define what you said of your past. So, like, for example, if somebody is a convicted felon, and they say that, you may start to treat them how you think you're supposed to treat convicted felons, instead of they're just somebody that committed a crime once or twice, but they're not a felon themselves. So it's kind of like it's a shaky thing to look into the past.
Okay, I hear you. I guess so, but for you as an individual, like you understand your past and how you got to where you've gotten to right now. But you're saying like, as far as like uh that being a part of how people know you, it's the distraction. It's not necessary because we're here right now.
Right. And it, yes, but also it can be limited. Like, even if I identify with my past. So again, like when I was kind of going through this process, in a sense, I mourned myself for like a week when I really understood what identifying with the past was, because for a while I thought I was my pain. I thought I was my struggles. I thought I was all of this. But what ends up happening is that what you identify with, you're only limited to that, to your perception of what you think that is. So
Okay.
just to use a real world example, a black man, not to say that I don't identify as a black man, but to identify as a black person, you take on all of the struggles since we know of our history of slavery, of police brutality, of all these other things. And even the good parts of the stigma of how you have to carry yourself and act, you take all that on, but that can also be limited when there's so much to learn from every culture, from every person, everything. And to identify even yourself as this past moment is to limit yourself from all that's possible.
I like it. I like it. But but I'm still blackity black. I'm still like, are you saying don't say we black because of the history?
No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying don't. You're not just black. Like, you're everything.
Oh,
You're creation itself. You're like, I love to say that you're a perfect creation made by a perfect creator. So you might as well step into your perfection.
I like that. You're definitely a poet with the words. I see you coming through with them
Oh
words.
yeah.
That makes sense. And I obviously, like, as a therapist, I do find that a lot of times people have very limiting beliefs about themselves, about their capabilities, and a
Yeah.
lot of it is based around their past or what was said to them or what was done. And so, unfortunately, that's what gets bottled up. Not their purpose doesn't get bottled up, or their potential doesn't get bottled up. All the pain, unfortunately, ends up being bottled up. And
Yeah.
it really, like, I meet so many dope people, and I think that we when I think about the barriers that stop us, it's our own individual selves, because of the
Yeah.
way that we are perceiving our capabilities. So if we can, like, mourn that, let it go, and work on being in the moment, it's history from there.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, like, everything we believe, it was told to us, or we read it somewhere, or we think we experienced it that way. And the reason I say we think we experienced it that way, because we could have experienced it based on false beliefs. So again, we don't know if the beliefs that we were told were even true or not. So we live our lives according to it. Like, the Santa Claus example. When you believe in Santa Claus, you position your life, you make your movements according, so you won't upset Santa Claus.
Right.
If you don't believe in Santa Claus, you don't care what Santa Claus thinks. You don't have to maneuver like that. And we're made up of so many beliefs that we don't even really know what we're guided by.
I know. And even I think even now with all of the media, social media, like, people don't understand how much they've allowed society to guide their thoughts. I always, like, encourage people to start their day with their why and be intentional about it, because if they're not guarding their day and their thoughts, then they're basically choosing for society to guide it for them if they're not intentional about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, where did this conscious rap style come from? Like, where did you begin doing this type of work? Because I've never heard someone call themselves like a conscious healer. Like you're very into the mental health world. So how did that come about?
Yeah, so it's like two paths that kind of merge. So I've always been into music my whole life, love music. Kind of
Poetry
stumbled
too?
in. Say it
Poetry?
again. Oh,
Poetry?
not so much poetry.
Okay.
Yeah, but what? Oh yeah, I'll speak on that. Okay, so uh, I stumbled into music. I was a producer first, and then my best friend he kind of got me to start rapping because I used to make like silly songs to make people laugh. And once I got started rapping, I rapped in a group, but I didn't want to be the weak rapper, so I practiced. And then I even went into like poetry forums and would battle people and like, yeah, let me battle you, just to have fun. So I kind of did hone my skills a little bit with poets, but it was more so just the drive to not be the weak rapper on the song. So I was a normal rapper as far as rapped about money, women, clothes, status, but I would sprinkle in there too what I considered the truth at the time. But
Mm.
at the same time, I've always been curious about everything. Like, if God exists, why does evil exist? Why are people suffering? Why do people say one thing, but their life reflects another thing? Like I was always searching for those things. And so like naturally I went to religion first. Started with the Bible, read it a bunch of times, studied it, debated it with people, tried to understand the parts that contradicted each other. And that led to a lot as well, like a lot of unanswered questions that I was like, well, it doesn't make any sense. It says it, but and I do believe in God, just I do. But it was like there were just some inconsistencies, and people that I would talk to, they were like, no, don't ask that question, don't say that, things like that. And so it was like, no, but I really want to know the truth. And it's
Especially
just
the old school Christians. The old school Christians be like, just skip over it.
exactly, yeah. And even in the same Bible, like people praise Jesus, and Jesus says that he pretty much says everybody can do what he did. He said people can do greater things than not. And I'm looking like, why don't y'all see this? Like you can make miracles happen too. And I couldn't understand, but I still didn't really have those answers. And just through a stroke of luck or divine guidance, I found a book called A Course in Miracles that filled in a lot of the blanks. And because I was already trying to understand it, I kind of understood it a little bit quicker than people who have been studying the course a while. So I'm not saying that I'm better than anybody for doing that or anything. It's just that I had already been trying to understand this. So it was like, this makes it easier. So naturally, when all of this happened, it was like, I can't make certain music anymore. Like I can't perpetuate non-truths because not only does it not help you, it doesn't help me. And it keeps me further in illusion, the more people that I expose to this illusion, in a sense.
Okay, so then that happened. You read it's called the Course of Miracles. Is that what
Yeah,
you
A
said?
Course in Miracles.
A Course in Miracles, just in case
Yeah.
somebody's listening.
Yeah.
And so you read that, and then you're like, "Yo, I can't be out here perpetrating.
Yeah.
This isn't my swag." So then you decided that you were gonna like kind of branch out on your own and break away from the group.
Yeah. Oh no. See, that's the thing. Okay, so the group had already ended before
Okay,
that. Just personal reasons, life happened. Everybody
right.
gets older, and I was still working a day job at the same time. And so yeah, okay. So I'll segue this. I also have a children's music company, Every Child Wins, where we make music like teaching colors, numbers. Like we put it in music form because
Wow.
music can be easily understood. Like you might forget what you ate for breakfast 2 days ago, but you hear a song, like you just know it from a
Like
song
the
you heard when you were 3 years old.
like
Yeah,
the alphabets, like the
yeah,
jingle. Yeah.
yeah. So in the realm of that, I was already kind of making teaching music with that. But then when this came, it was like, I can help adults too. So I'm in these mastermind groups, and I'm kind of sharing some of the info that I understand now with people like, oh no, this is why you see this. This is why you're acting like this. This is why you're depressed. This is why we, might feel anxious. And it's helping them. Like they're getting guidance from it. So it's giving me more confidence as a teacher. Um, and but also one of the things the book revealed that we all know to be true: to teach is to learn, and to learn is to teach. So if you truly want to learn something, you have to teach it. There's no other way. And to truly teach something, you have to be able to learn it. And
do that. Wait, do that again, because I'm a little slow, JClay. You gotta
okay.
So to teach is to learn is to teach.
Yeah.
So when
So if you want to truly learn the subject, you have to teach it. Because when you're teaching it, you dig deep into all of these questions, all of the behind the scenes stuff. But also in order to teach it, you have to learn all this stuff. You have to know what you're teaching. So it's a perfect circle that feeds itself.
Right. So I think the more people talk, like the stuff that you're learning, you're talking about it, you're studying it. Okay. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the more. Yeah.
Right. Which is why you should be careful what you share about your past, because you could be reinforcing it to other people to share what you didn't like and bring it into this moment right now.
Yeah. Or perpetuating it, like keep. Sometimes people end up being in a cycle where they feels like it's always a part of, like it's always there when it's not, because it's in the past. A lot of times if we because it sounds like you grieved, like you said, you had a mourning period of like, and so I think, but a lot of people like have to do that part in order for it not to perpetuate and keep it in a cycle, like grieve it. Because if we don't, I think that like our brain can't differentiate between our now and our history. So if I'm triggered right now and I find myself struggling, it may not be about you. It's probably about something in the past. But if I haven't mourned it or processed it, I'm gonna like be stuck in this, and my mind doesn't understand what's going on. Because I think we do have to like process it and mourn it in order for it not to be like us to be stuck in it.
Yeah, exactly. And part of the grieving was when I realized how much I enjoyed the pain. So what I mean by that is, like when something perceived bad happens to you, you want to tell people like, you won't believe what happened to me, but you speak about it with so much joy and conviction. So it's like the universe sees that you love this, so it gives you more of it because you're speaking with it with joy, and you're not leaving it where it is. Like anything you want to keep alive, in a sense, you give attention to. You speak about it all the time. Yeah, and yeah.
No, yeah, I tell my clients, because they're like something like, for instance, happened at work. They call on this person, and I was like, you're just keeping that energy going, so
Yeah.
you got to release it. So I totally understand the concept of what you're trying to say, because a lot of times, and so like for my listeners, when he says enjoy the pain, like nobody obviously like intentionally says like I want to feel pain, but I think when your system is used to being in pain for so long, it could be a comfortably uncomfortable like environment for you that you find yourself in all the time. So being mindful of that and actually trying to be intentional about changing that environment is not easy. It's actually really hard. It's like a
Yeah.
battle. People feel like they're going through a battle, but it's definitely necessary to get you to the next level.
Yeah, and it's funny you should say that too, because like once you start to get out of it and everything's so good, you're like, wait a minute, what's wrong? So now you're looking for what's wrong to make something wrong happen. It's like I don't know how to deal. It's too good.
I know when people get that peace, like that peace and stuff, it's
Yeah,
like they find themselves feeling like something's wrong or what's next or but like that's what we're supposed to have. So it's like we're not used to it. Like God gives us peace that surpasses all understanding, and
yeah,
I just feel like we don't do the work to have that peace, because we're not taking space to be still and recognize. So I think
yeah.
that's super dope. So now like that makes sense how you're transition into this space. Now being in this space, how does it feel navigating it in this musician world? Yeah, as a
Yeah,
musician.
see, it's different because it's like I really don't see myself as a musician right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it's more so about the message. So like, a lot of people talk about hearing God's voice and everything. Like the only time I can truly say with perfect certainty I heard it was about this album that I made. It was just finished the album, just finished the album. So around the time when I told you I found the book, I was learning from it, teaching people about mental health and learning it myself. Um, that idea came and it just kept replaying. So it's like, well, can I make music that helps, that teaches, like I'm doing with Every Child Wins, and can it not be corny? Like, can it and not be too preachy, but easily understood? So it was kind of like it was a slow process because honestly, I didn't know if I can do it. I didn't know how people would look at me for somebody who wasn't in the mental health field, who didn't even try to be in the mental health field, now saying that I can help you overcome mental illness. And it was in me, like I was hindering myself from that perceived past. And like every time I would go the next step and share it with somebody, they were like, wow, this is amazing. This, you have to do this. And it was like a collective effort from everybody in a sense.
Oh, that's dope. So you got a lot of support around it.
Yeah.
And then when did you first start like producing? So I get it. You wouldn't call yourself a musician. It just happens to be music that you're using to teach people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then when did you start? I listen to words, so I just want to be clear, like we're on the same page.
Yeah.
When did you start making this music that you have out now?
So, I first released it in 2019, but I want to say I started in 2017, maybe the end of 2017 was when I first started. Yeah. And
Okay.
yeah. And then when I felt comfortable enough, I just put it all out on the line. I released Let Go in December of 2019, and I put it with the tagline, "This song will heal you." Now, that it's a little misleading because what I do does not necessarily heal you. It removes the blocks that stop you from healing on your own. Like, healing is very natural. But I knew that if I can put this out here bold like this and not get any backlash, I really have something here. Like I jumped out into the water, and so many people were saying, wow, this has helped me. I just had a traumatic experience. Somebody died. I needed to hear this. Thank you. Like, I was getting these messages constantly as I was running these Facebook ads of the song with that tagline. And from there it was okay. I knew that I was in the right field.
Wow, that's pretty remarkable. I wonder, do you think Facebook would shut me off if I play the song on here?
No, it wouldn't. It shouldn't.
Oh, okay. Let me so like, cause you just brought up let go. So I want to bring it up. And I think for people that are listening, I think healing is a journey, right? And like I was saying, is like it's not a linear journey. It's not a one thing happens. I think everything matters, right? I feel
Yeah.
like God gives us what we need, but we got to really pay attention, right? So I love the fact that you talk about like being able to help remove the barriers, because there's a
Yeah.
lot of barriers that are keeping us stuck. So let's play this song. Let me just share my screen.
All right.
Can people hear it?
Yeah, I can hear it. It's a little low though.
They telling you that you is on your own. You believe that? You get everything you ever want. You can see that, but you feeling stripped cause your grip tight. Now that grip is a fist. All you want to do is fight. So your work don't work and your work won't rise. You think you just got your money, but you want what it can't buy. You can never sit alone cause them voices so alive. But you always on your own cause you push them all aside. At least that's what you see when you look through closed eyes. Having a bad past content like you about to win a prize. Like, I had it worse. No, I had it worse. Nah, man. I had it worse. Let go. You only scared cause they told you you should be. You only there cause they told you they would be. Why don't you care what I told you you could be? Why you prepare for everywhere but what it could be? Your life is light, but you know you're not gonna like it. But you must like it cause you recite it every night like it's on mic. It's like you change to what you foster. It's like your brain is your imposter. It's like you glory in your story like your pain's a badge of honor. Let go. Why do you stay here? Let's go. Why do you play here? Let's grow. Why do you not do you instead dwell in the hell that you lived through? That's old. Remember, only the weak have enemies, and the strong have inner peace. Only the weak have enemies, and the strong have inner peace. Let go. 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 Hey, hey, what you holding on to? Guilt, pain, shame, man, that's what you don't do. Nah, hey, what you holding on for? Is pain what you want to be known for? Man, let go. 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 Hey, thinking that you woke, but you still tired. Wanting God to take the wheel, but you still drive. But your half full glasses, are you still blind? Yeah, you look good, but do you feel fine? Hey, yeah, you look good, but do you feel mine? It's yours, nothing is forced. Making these judgments about life, who's your source? Feeling almighty, now you're like, oh Lord, I need a victory. But let me ask you, who are you without your history? Man, everything is, nothing was. Created by, with, and for love. One more time. Everything is, nothing was. Created by, with, and for love. Let go.
Oh, that was dope.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh wait, what? Oh, that was dope. Oh, okay. Let me get back to my screen. Okay. So that was pretty dope. I like that. How long did it take you to
Appreciate
write that?
it. How long did it take? It might have took maybe a week. So the first two verses were in the span of like 2 days, just because I was so hyped for the song. And then after listening to it, and it was empty space left in the beat, I started freestyling, and the line I came up with was thinking that you woke, but you still tired. I was like, I got to write a third verse. And so it just came from there. But yeah, I actually wrote the majority of this on my way to work and while I was at work. I used to work at NASA, and on the campus, it's like a very nice campus with like deer roaming around, ducks, everything. And I would take these 15-minute walk breaks, and I was there trying to contain myself, still be professional. But I had this beat in my headphones, and I'm just getting it. But yeah, it was cool.
I don't like listen. I mean, I don't write stuff, but I know what it's like to have these ideas come flooding in and you just get so excited. And
Yeah.
so that's pretty dope. I love everything that you're saying and the words in the song about letting go. And I think the barriers that people are able to have broken are the ones that have kept them captive. The false beliefs. I work with all socioeconomic statuses, races, genders, and there's the common thread that there's a commonality in the way that people are stuck, and a lot of it has to do with the way that they're thinking about themselves and their life and where they're going, which is why this music really speaks to anyone that's struggling, because it's literally what needs to happen for people that finds themselves in that stuck place.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
So
like you said, oh, go ahead.
go ahead, it's fine.
But when I was gonna say, yeah, a lot of times like we know what would make us the happiest, but we're only scared because of how we judged the past or these beliefs about ourselves that might not even be based on truth at all. We just for some reason believe them.
No, you don't. And I think that we're self healers. I think about babies and how they continue to get up and walk again despite falling. And I think that's the way we are created, right? To continue going. But then little by little, like this box is built up and then we box ourselves in. So really, for people that are like finding themselves struggling, right, letting go is hard, right? Because when you think about the pain that people perpetuate in,
Mhm.
that's all. No, so letting go is kind of letting go a piece of them, which they or what they thought was a piece of them.
Yeah.
So that's where the grieving part comes in, right? You're trying to introduce a new concept. There's a lot when change happens. There's a lot of ambivalence. It's a lot of anxiety could be because you're like going to new levels. But if you understand the process, part of it is the grieving part. I think people would be like, okay, you know what? This is part of the process, because they tell you you're supposed to change and do all this, but they don't tell you about the process. They
Yeah.
don't talk about that hard stuff, right? And
And,
so like it's hard.
yeah, and using the baby example, right? Like, just imagine if babies were like, I failed last time I tried to walk. I guess I'm not gonna walk.
Right. Right.
Yeah, like,
They don't do that.
yeah,
And a lot of it is because their environment, they're constantly seeing people walk, right? So they're able to their goal is in front of them. And when I think about us and some of the environments that we're in, not just people, but the things that we're doing, we really have to work on changing our environment as we're trying to work on our healing process, so that we can like emulate and be in spaces and listen in these energies, so that we can really understand, and stay focused on where we're trying to go. But it's hard to really work on healing in the same environment. And for people that are like in a home or a space where it's like, well, this is only the place I can afford. So like it's deeper than just the actual space. It's what you are exposing your mind to, right? Like I think that's an important thing to remember. I would say use what you have where you are, with whatever you have, because we have what we need. It may not be the best, it may not be like top notch or what we want, but we can't get stuck in those barriers. We really got to look at what we have.
yeah. And to that as well, like, we don't even realize the power we have. So what I mean is, like, the whole teaching and learning thing. Um, if we judge against our environment, right, we're teaching ourselves that there can be bad. So like, we're teaching ourselves that also we're accepting bad for ourselves, or what we consider
Right.
bad. But by like forgiving that judgment that we made and seeing the best in the situation and the people, you even change them in a sense where, like, um actually, let me use this example. I heard KRS-One say this. He said, yeah, let's say you had a best friend that rapped and he spit a verse to you, and let's say you really didn't like the verse and you said, nah man, you should stop rapping. And he's like, that's the end of it, y'all. He doesn't rap, he still stays where he's at. But if you, and I'm paraphrasing, but if you point out something that you truly liked about it and say, yeah man, I like how your energy with it, now this person just has a little bit more confidence to go pursue and better himself and change the situation for both of you. So like from what you said, that affirmation you gave the environment around you, you improved it, or you left it the same.
Yep, that's so good. That's so good. That's so on point. And I think that for people listening, if you're finding some form of something speaking to you, really try to work on being intentional about what your next move is. Nothing changes if nothing changes, right? The world's still gonna go and change, but like as far as that inner peace, and I know so many people, especially now, are searching for that inner peace. That's the hard part. But that's something that has to be worked through. And that's something that you talk about, is the inner peace.
Right. Yeah. Because really, that's the main thing. Like, what could be more important than our peace? But we give away our peace to other things, based off of fear. And in a sense, fear is the opposite of peace. So it's like you can't really have both. But a lot of our decisions and movements have been made out of fear. Like, people teach through fear. They say you have to do this or this will happen. But in actuality, how do they know? They really don't know. And then even and there are also enough examples of people that had that situation happen that it still ended up being the best thing for them.
That's so true. Now, with you like being a lover of music, like you love music, and DMX just passed away recently. He was a lover of music, and his words actually spoke to a lot of people. I think people understood his language. What do you think it is about music? Because for me personally, like when I was growing up, I used to listen to, so I'm 38, I'll be 39 this year. And we had cassette tapes back in the day.
Oh yeah,
Um, and so
I
I remember
remember.
I used to put the little tissues in the hole and record on the radio because I couldn't buy no tape, you know what I'm saying? But I was
Yeah.
recording the song. I was waiting for the song to come on to record it. But I remember like music feeling like so therapeutic. I would have never used that language growing up, but when I look back at my childhood, I remember like that was like one of the things that really helped me a lot was music. What do you think it is about music that really helps people in their healing process?
Yeah, music it connects on so many levels. Like no matter who you are, you can connect to music on some level. So like again, how I told you, I started off as a producer. For a while, I really didn't hear the lyrics. I would just hear the intricacies of the beat, and how it played together, and then I'll start listening to the lyrics and how it meshed over it. Because I'm the same age. I'm 39, and I grew up like R&B was all through the radio. So I'm loving all the radio hits. Some songs I still remember it with the tag of the radio station on it because I recorded it from the radio. But yeah, it touches on so many levels, and it replays in your mind like an affirmation. So that's why it also is important to what you listen to as well, or what you unconsciously listen to. Like you can listen to some stuff that might not benefit you as long as you do it consciously and like, okay, I don't necessarily agree with this, but you might not even realize that it's just replaying in your mind like people suck or something like that, for an example. And so now you go through life with the mindset that people suck, when in reality they don't. They're awesome people that can help you or assist you. You know.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I think that there's power in words, and it goes back to the environment. Like part of the environment is the music that you listen to,
Yeah.
and what it does to you. You know, if I'm at the gym, I don't want to listen to that in low key. I want to listen to that rah rah. You know,
Yeah.
so it definitely like sets the mood, and I understand what I'm doing when I like turn it up a notch. I'm trying to get motivated and get my environment right so I can keep it moving.
Yeah.
So
No,
that's
yeah,
good.
exactly.
Now you have an album called I Am Nobody, but I Am Someone.
Yeah. I am nobody. I am someone.
I am someone. Tell me, because you've been tripping me with these words now. Let's get to what that means. 'Cause
Yeah. So it has a few meanings.
you
So
have
the
like
first
this,
meaning,
you have this like shock effect where it's like you know what you're doing with the words because it makes you want to be like, wait, what does that even mean? Because every time I'm like writing your stuff down, I'm like, dang, you're really deep. And then I'm sure I'm gonna understand when I get you on. So you tell me what that means.
yeah. So yeah, I am nobody. I am someone. It has a few meanings. So like the first is how it sounds. Like I am nobody. I am someone. So it's like the split of it. Like it's the both halves of it, where you don't really have confidence, and then you have a lot of confidence.
Okay.
But it's a more literal term as well. Like I am nobody. I am someone. So it's because a lot of people believe that they're this body, and that's, I can get into that if you want me to, because that's a conversation that I know I need to explain to many people. But it's that reminder that you are also part of a whole. Like you're not this individual body. You are someone. You are this important sum of this whole. So you have this whole piece, but your piece is just as important, because without it, it can't be this wholeness, this oneness in a sense.
All right. So it's like I'm not just this body, but I'm someone. Like someone feels more powerful, and it feels like I'm a part of something, the universe.
Right. So you're part of the universe, like you're someone, but you're also yeah, to also say that I am nobody is to remove that identity, like we talked about, like what you identify with limits you. So I am no, like if you can think in terms that you are not a body, you're free to do everything. You are free to experience anything. You can
Ah.
dress how you want to dress. You can be who you want to be. You can do anything. But when you identify with any kind of identification, you're only limited to what you self-identify with.
How do you identify yourself?
I don't. Um, yeah, I don't. I allow God to identify me. So in that sense, like you can say I'm special, but special is just a word. But I also, what I believe of myself, I believe of everybody else. Like that's a trick that ego plays. And you think that you can perceive something in somebody else that's not perceived in yourself, but that's not true. Like what you perceive, you can only be on that level to perceive because it's within you, if that makes sense.
Now you got, come on, JClay, do it one
Okay,
more
okay,
time.
okay,
Say it one more time.
okay. Let me use an example. Yeah. So you brought up triggers earlier.
Yeah.
When something triggers a person,
Mhm.
it's not that action that triggered them. It's just their belief about the action that triggered them.
Yes.
So in a way, actions have no consequence. Only thoughts have consequences. And
Okay.
yeah, when you realize the power of your thoughts, you can see that you're not really mad at that person, you're mad at yourself. So like if you see bad in a person, you're not really seeing bad in that person. You're just seeing your own thoughts reflected back to you. Uh yeah. Does that make sense?
I think I get it a little bit. Um, I think I get it a little bit. But I think I
Okay.
understand the I am um the nobody, like the no is like kind of negative. It feels negative, nobody. And then someone, I don't know, I just feel like the someone part feels a little bit more powerful than the
Yeah.
nobody. But the example you gave, um, I agree, like there's power in our thoughts and we don't understand how powerful our thoughts are. Um, and then a lot of times the things that we're struggling with is because of the way we're thinking about it, not because of the actual thing, especially when
Right.
it's in the past. Because the
Yeah.
past is not happening now. There's this book called The Power of Now that I read, and it was like super deep by Eckhart
Yeah.
Tolle.
Eckhart Tolle, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. But just thinking about how, like, what are you like mad about? It's not happening right now in this moment. And I was just like, dang, I know that, but hearing it, it just hit differently. Where I was like, you're right, Eckhart, it's not
Yeah.
happening right now. Why am I holding on to this?
Yeah.
So you're right, like the perceived, the perception of our thoughts and the thoughts, like I said, no matter what race, socioeconomic status, it's like the thoughts that's really holding people back.
Yeah.
Um, so really thinking about like I'm someone, and I'm part of like a bigger picture, and
Right.
that helps with the purpose, I think too.
Yeah. Right. And also that someone, since you accept like that you're part of someone, again, everything that you perceive is part of you. And everything is that's part of you is what you see and perceive. So again, that's what I mean by like if like people like to bring up toxic people. And I don't really believe that there can be a such thing as toxic people. But if you perceive toxicity in a person, you're treating that person toxically. So you're doing the same thing. You're the same toxic person, just to the toxic person.
Wait, so we can't look, I can't say like, oh wow, that looks like a toxic situation. So that means I'm being toxic to that person because I'm seeing them being toxic.
Yes.
How, tell me, how does that work? I don't know if I can
Okay.
rock with that one.
So again, it's around the same example I gave about KRS-One, and like you can empower that situation. So
Okay.
a lot of people think like toxic means they can drain your energy, but if somebody can drain your energy, somebody can also give you energy. But the difference is when you give it willingly, you also get it back. So like an example would be if you gave somebody a compliment. If I were to give you a compliment right now, you would either smile, which makes me smile, so I got it back, or you give me another compliment, which makes me smile. But if I was
Mhm.
to ridicule you in some way, you'll either frown, which makes me feel bad, or you'll ridicule me back, which also makes me feel bad. So when you willingly give love, when you lead with love, in a sense, you neutralize everything where it like no toxicity can exist. So, but if you allow yourself to stay and see toxic, that means you're choosing to be toxic.
You sound like a Buddhist. No, I hear you. You basically see, because I don't think people are bad. Like nobody is born to be bad. I think things happen and people have these traits about them. I've had some people that were like struggling with anger management. And when I got to the chorus, they were the biggest heart ever, but it was overshadowed. Like they put this blockage up,
Yeah.
and displayed a lot of anger. So I just think that, um, being able to um, being able to recognize a toxic person, but you're saying, if I'm thinking about the KRS-One example, so you're saying it's not like we're not going to keep feeding it, but we're going to, show it some love
Yeah.
or boundaries. Boundaries, but I think if we're consistently around it, we're actually choosing to accept it. Is that what you're saying as
Well,
well?
no, so like even boundaries, like boundaries, I believe lead to depression because you're cutting yourself off from the world. Like you're saying, I have to, you have a boundary. But the only reason people would behave in a way that we consider bad is because they think that's what they have to do. They get something from it. They have a purpose. They think that it's going to give me love and attention. They think that it's going to give me what I always want, which at its core is just love. And when you give people, when you give people that love, you'll see how quickly like all of that extra stuff just fades away. It's like in the Bible when Jesus said he cast out demons. It's like if you show love to a person that's just angry and yelling at you, but you really show love, they're like, wow, and that just goes away. And they'll come back, oh, I'm sorry, I was just under a lot of pressure, blah, blah, blah. But love really can, I know it sounds cheesy, but love really can heal and neutralize all.
It doesn't. It doesn't sound cheesy. It sounds like a Buddhist. It just sounds like Buddhism, like they're really about community and love and showing compassion. So I guess I hear you, right? And I think that boundary, like if you're in a space to do that, that's fine. Like if somebody's in a space to be able to show love, like, and not feel like they're being drained by that person. I don't think we should overexert ourselves to show compassion and keep like hitting the wall, and then we're knocked down. Now we're knocked down because we're trying to do more than what that person's doing for us.
Yeah.
So that's just the way I view it. But I think that there's nothing wrong with doing it that way if you have it to give. And a lot of people don't have it to give or may not even understand. Some people overgive and they're not giving themselves enough. So I think that's important. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. But I will remind you too that what you give, you receive. Like the same way teaching and learning are one, giving and receiving are one too. So it's like we all really have love to give because it's the core of who we are. Like if there was really no love, we wouldn't be here. But there's a reason why, let's say, birds of a feather flock together. Like they see the love of each other for whatever that thing is. And so even in that, they have it to give. And it might not be to give to everybody. Like you said, they might not have knowledge of it yet. But even in hearing this, just like try next time you're in a situation where it's like love is not being shown, and see if you can step back, like don't have that reaction. Instead, just see if you can just give a little love. And one time is enough to change your mind forever. You can be like, wow, did this really just happen?
Okay, yeah, for my audience. I mean that I my energy is all about like peace and love anyway. So when people are around me, they automatically just like relax. They feel relaxed and at peace.
Yeah.
I give a lot, but I've done a lot of work on myself. Where I can like, if I'm getting like certain energies, I'm able to like help reset it because of the work that I've done. But I know like a lot of people may not be there, so I just want people to make sure that they're not giving from an empty cup. So that's important. I think, God wants us to make sure we're taking care of ourselves and that we're okay. Because if we're not okay, then we're not going to be able to give anything, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah, it's true.
So tell me, where can people find the album? One of the songs on there is about forgiveness. Like, it's really, really deep. And I really think that it's different and dope for people to like vibe out to, especially for people that may not be in a good space. Like I said earlier, music was like something that really, really, really helped shaped me a lot. So where can people find the album?
Yeah, you can find it everywhere, all streaming platforms. Also on my website, JClay.org. You can order the physical copy. And yeah, it's everywhere. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music. And like you said, like it's one of those albums, it meets you where you're at. So there are a couple of deep songs, but those are at the end. But there are also like some very surface songs that on the surface, it just seems like it's a regular song that you would listen to, that you would jam. Like, man, this song jams. But then when you really listen, it's like, oh, this has this deeper meaning. But even if you don't realize it, it's helping you to undo those unconscious, hurtful thoughts, self-hurtful thoughts that can replay in your mind all day.
Yeah, and what he said, what JClay says, like playing your mind all day. A lot of times people don't even know like it's playing in their mind all day, those negative thoughts. So to really have something to offset it, because like I said, we're self healers. Our brain, our mind is powerful. We're very powerful. We're a powerful creation, and we don't tend to like tap into that power because of all the blockages. And so, like, I think listening to your music, even the one we played on the podcast, letting go, just hearing that, it really like, oh, let me let it go. Like, I need to like work on releasing some of that. Like, I'm sitting in this cycle of pain. Like, that's the thing. If you don't have anything to counter those thoughts will have dominion in your life. Like, you know, and if you work on, understanding that the thoughts are negative and I want to counter them with something else, you have to work on being intentional on doing it because them negative thoughts are going to fight to stay. They've been chilling, for a long time. They ain't trying to give up space. I say, like, when them negative thoughts connect with me, they be like mad. They be like, dang, Celeste is here.
Yeah.
Because I will like reframe, and this album will do the same thing for you.
Yeah. And what's funny too, like things that used to annoy me would make me mad, but now they make me happy because it helps me realize what I haven't let go of. So like it went it's rare now. Like it used to be all the time. Like this annoys me. But now when something happens, it's like, oh, I haven't let go of this thought yet. And then you can kind of trace it back. Like, why do I think that this is a bad thing? Why do I think this is annoying? Who am I to even make this correct judgment? And it changes everything. So now when this happens, because you can't really control the outside in a sense. When these happen, you still maintain your peace and your happiness no matter what.
And so that, yes, that's true. And the only reason why you're able to maintain it is because you're paying attention to it. So being mindful is going to be important because, like you said, being able to maintain no matter what. A lot of people don't feel like they have control over their emotions, and a lot of times you don't because you're not doing anything to counter those negative thoughts. And if you work on that, I promise you'll have control. It's not that emotions won't happen, but they won't be leading the way. A lot of times we're responding off of that negative emotion and we don't recognize that. So that's something that's important to understand.
Yeah. And the good news to it all is like everything we've ever learned has started from a thought and we just kept repeating it. So to unlearn it in a sense, we just focus just a little bit on the thoughts, and we don't have to even force it to happen right now. We can one thought now can just have a profound effect 5 years from now or a month from now. Just, we don't have to make it more than it is. We can just let go and allow it to happen.
Absolutely. It's the same way that happens with the negative, the same thing with the positive. Like somebody at one point thought that, what if we were able to take the phones off the wall and in our pocket, right? And a cell phone was created, right? Yeah. Like thoughts are very powerful. They can either like propel like a situation and create something, or it can keep you stagnant with thinking that you can't do it. Yeah. So really, like, why wouldn't you want to stay mindful of your thoughts if that's the case? When you think about it that deeply, it's like, you know what, let me start this today.
Yeah, really. Like even when I started, before I found the Course in Miracles, and when I was just trying to understand everything, and I realized how much our thoughts played, like I was deep in those affirmations. Like I would say it 50, 100 times because like I got to remember this thought. I can't allow these other things to govern my life. So
that's dope. For my people listening, the affirmationsofbomb.com, I swear, like that's really the way to go when it comes to trying to like, and you say it every day until you start to believe it. In the same way we've been trained to brush our teeth, we've been trained to wash up, like, right, we can train ourselves to live and not survive. And the way that we're talking about it, it allows you to live life, and when you're living and not surviving life, there's peace in that.
Yeah. So true.
This is good. Now you just started a series on Facebook and YouTube with your friend. What is it called?
Yeah, it's called Perfect Mode. It's
Okay.
it's a podcast where it's around the same principle. So like, so one of the things I like to say is, if I reminded you that you were perfect, would you argue me down or would you accept it? You know, and it's all of these mindful things, like, you know, just everything that we're talking about, everything that you're doing as well. Like it's these things that help people, but it's coming from a standpoint that we might not even have it all figured out ourselves, but together we can come to it. We can look at what's true, what's not, see what kind of gets us there. And it's not even about having like a perfect system. Like you said, healing is a journey. So it's not like you have to do this way. It's really checking in with yourself and seeing what your own guidance system says, like what the love inside is telling you what to do. And it's kind of navigating about that.
Nice. I like that. That's dope. And I think about mold meaning like it's, transfer. You can like create something different, right?
Yeah. It was actually mode, MODE, like enter perfect mode. But I like that mode. Like, that's pretty cool.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
But I
Got it.
like that. No, that's one of those rapper things. Yeah.
I'm in the environment right now. I'm
Yeah.
sitting. So like I'm channeling it now, I guess.
Yeah.
This was good. You are so dope. Like really helping a lot of people with their healing. I always tell people on my podcast, this is like episode 302, and I
Yeah.
tell people on my podcast that there's like so many different ways that we can work on our healing. And I love like your concepts. I think that, you know, everybody's gonna need something different. There's some people that sit in my therapy sessions and then they'll leave and then they'll hear something and be like, oh my God, like this and this, like I get it. And it's like I said it a while ago, but I didn't say it that way. It was the way that person said it that got them to that aha moment. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's dope, right? Even like when I just said Eckhart Tolle talking about being in the now, like I know that logically, but just hearing it, I don't know, hearing it, it just hit differently. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, and we need that. And I'm consistently putting myself in those spaces. I understand like what I'm doing now, but I want to keep understanding it. I want to keep feeding my spirit, because I know what it's like not to have it fed. Like I know what it's like to feel empty. And I think that if people can like hear what you're saying, and really be intentional, them thoughts, the power of the thoughts, I think I might even name it that, is
Yeah.
like really, really, it can lead you in one direction or another. And why not allow yourself to enjoy the fulfillment that's been promised to you?
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said too, like, I believe that person wouldn't have got it later had you not said it then. We are all needed, and it's beautiful how it all plays out.
It's so dope, so dope. So tell people how they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on JClay.org. Behind me, that's my website. It has links to all my music, everything. On social media, I'm at JClay first, JClay1ST. And yeah, message me if you have any questions, anything. I respond to everything. Yeah, and I've definitely enjoyed being here.
Yeah, I wasn't too hard on you.
Oh no, not at all.
All right.
Hopefully I didn't go too left on you.
Nah, you good. I can keep up. Come on, don't play
Oh
me
no,
out.
yeah,
I
you
can
good.
keep up.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. For people listening to this on the audio, you can find the links to everything in the show notes. So thank you, kind sir.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
That was super dope. Let me take off this banner. So, thank you all for listening. For people that have never been into this podcast before, this is an audio podcast. And so like there are 300 episodes up that can help you shift the way you think. But this episode will be up next week. So I appreciate you guys for working out with me, and I will talk to you later.
365 days, but I treat every day like it's my last. I'm only concerned with building on the future, cause I can't change my past. Positive vibes for positive lives. She just giving you that that truth is shifting your mind. It's more mental than you realize. It's up to you to take control, cause this world is cold and negativity gon' take its toll. Now we've been told any day could be your last. I'm embracing every moment and I cherish every laugh, every smile, every hug, every kiss, every touch, every person in my life that I care about and love. But wait, maybe I'm getting too emotional. That's exactly what they say you ain't supposed to do. Suppress your feelings, never talk about your pain. Can't appreciate the sun without acknowledging it rains, right? That's right. So this a moment of clarity, and make sure you always protect your energy. You stay focused and your life gon' be lit, and you